Okay. Anne, how are you today?
Very great. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you so much for this opportunity to talk.
Well, thank you for joining. I mean, I know we had conversations about different concepts and ideas, and I'm aware that while we were talking, we said, why we don't make a series like to explore these ideas, because you're a breathing ambassador or I'm a psychotherapist, it could be very linked our work. And not only that, I think it's also the ideas we share, and our knowledge about things. So I'm very happy we decided to create this series, which is about how to connect to the self, which probably you've seen it, but me as a psychotherapist, I see that a lot of people have a lot of difficulty of how to do it. And this is where everything starts. There's a disconnection to themselves. So therefore mental health
Mm.
arises, conflict, and all this relationship issues. So I'm really happy we started this series, and I know we're gonna do more. We're gonna bring more guests and experts about
Yeah.
topics, and even create some nice retreats in one of the beautiful islands of my country at some point, which is very exciting. So I'm very excited about this new cooperation. And yeah, so this is about breathing. Breathing, is everything. You know everything about it, but this is, I guess, a talk we start about how breathing helps us to connect to ourselves. And my understanding as a therapist is that a lot of people don't have an understanding about how to breathe correctly. What is breathing? How much it impacts us? So go on and give us your knowledge. And
Thank you. Yeah, breathing is life. So
Mhm.
essentially, we have to explain something about breathing and my breathwork, my miracle breathwork that I created. So I want to tell something before starting to talk about breathing. I think that breathing is very an automatic function, and we are not aware about our breathing because it's automatic. So we don't have to take care about our breathing. We breathe, but the main fact is we can breathe, but we don't know if our breathing is good or not good, if our breathing is efficient or not efficient, functional or dysfunctional. And my work, I discovered dysfunctional breathing habits because breathing is a behavior, and we all have behavior, we all have habits,
Mhm.
and we can have good habits and bad habits. In that way, we have to work on the breathing to reset and to educate and to learn how we can breathe properly. And breathing is very simple, very easy. I can explain you my work in 3 steps if you want that I share that, my miracle
Mm.
breath work. I can
Yeah.
say your miracle is a whole holistic approach to breathing techniques. I create this miracle breath work because I learned a lot of different techniques and I create my proper techniques. Why? Because I have a thought planted in the mind and nourished by breathing takes
Mhm.
roots in every cell of our body.
Mm.
And breathing is the greatest assets we have. Breath work, so the first steps, just to be connected to the self. That is our topic. My work on breathing is in 3 steps. First step is a breath awareness. That means a phase to raise the awareness. With
Mm.
breath awareness, you're not doing anything. It's automatic. It's unconscious. You just have to be the witness of your breathing. Just be the observer and do nothing. And this part of the first step is huge in the work for our breathing.
Mhm.
The first step is a breath consciousness. Conscious breathing is a conscious raising phase. You breathe with a certain intention. You take control on your breathing. You do the breathing. It's not the same. And the third,
I'm trying to be conscious of my breath.
The third step, it's a breath mastery. You play the breath's melody learning phase. That means that you do the breathing a while, you breathe in a certain way, and then you get out of the way and let the breath itself. It's about learning to control and let it go.
Mm.
The 3 steps of my miracle work is to explain that you have to be aware of your proper breathing. How do you breathe? And when you discover how do you breathe, you are able to work on it.
Can I say, I mean, as a therapist, I use breathing techniques, mindfulness, especially when people come with anxiety. And what I've noticed, there are 2 things. When we do the exercises, they start breathing from the chest. This is where I know this is wrong, isn't it? And the idea is you breathe from the belly. So I always have this idea of, you put one palm on your belly and it's like a balloon. And when you breathe, it goes up and out, off. So I realized that most of the people, like 8 out of 10, they will breathe from the chest, which is only creating more anxiety, isn't it? And also what I've noticed, the more anxious people are the people who, after they do the breathing, immediately they feel dizzy. So is this something about the wrong breathing create wrong, like this dizziness, or it's good?
It's just dysfunctional breathing habit.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know about diaphragm, about mechanic of breathing, and don't know about chemistry of the breathing. But we have to work on the both sides, with the mechanic and with the physiology, with the chemistry of the breathing. In the mechanic way, all people who are stressed, who are anxious, breathe with the chest because it's more easy. It's more easy to breathe here. And indeed, in my work, and I can see in a lot of people, the first work on breathing is to release the diaphragm, to work on the diaphragm, and to discover how you have to breathe. The breathing starts in the diaphragm, for sure. And the movement on your breathing in a mechanic way is start here. So the first work, when I ask a person, how do you breathe? You put just one hand on your belly and the other hand above your chest. And just be a witness. Just be an observer and you'll feel the breath. But for sure, when you are anxious, when you're stressed, for example, if you're in a situation of stress, when you have to run very quickly because you fear, what happens? You breathe very fast, very quick, and whole breathing is here. You open your mouth very quickly, like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Though it's not about chest breathing is bad, diaphragmatic is good, fast breathing is good, and etc. There's no bad and good breathing. We need to have an efficient and functional breathing in any situations. We don't need to have a perfect breathing during relaxations, because a lot of breath worker and overall sophrolog, etc., work on breathing, but only during relaxation. But you need to breathe correctly in all situations. When you work, when you cook, when you have activities, when you practice sport, etc.
That's exactly, that was my next question. I mean, yes, this is, but I've realized that people only do the breathing when they are in that context, like yoga or going for a meditation group, or they hear a visual meditation. but it just becomes a very temporary relaxation aspect of it. But as you say, it's so important. It has to be part of continuous habit of functional breathing, because let's be honest, I mean, this is what I don't understand. Breathing is life. Without breathing, we don't exist.
Exactly.
And I find so interesting that people take it for granted, so easily. Like rarely people, or and me sometimes, I'm not putting myself out of it. I'm observing my breathing, or because if you observe it, I think you connect so much to what's happening, to everything.
Yeah, in some way, yes, I say yes, but also when in my experience work, I observe a lot of people who, when I ask her to be an observer on their breathing, they manipulate their breathing. That's the reason why the first step in my work, it's a huge step and very important, because be aware of our breathing is the most important, and unconsciously people manipulate their breathing.
What do you mean by that? How can somebody...
They manipulate, for example, you talk about yoga. I'm a yoga teacher, so I know this practice. And that's the reason why I know that a lot of yoga teachers in Occidental have dysfunctional breathing habit, because I have dysfunctional breathing habit. Because when you practice yoga, teacher give you some directive to breathe. They say, you hold your breath for 5 counts, you take your breath, take a deep breath, take a deep breath. And all this advice are not efficient for all people. That means that if people, I take an example of a person who has a fast breathing, and that's great for her, because her breathing is efficient and very powerful in each moment. But if you talk to this woman to breathe more slowly and take a deep breath, you bring for her dysfunctional breathing habit. You change her breathing. So it's very important to know for everyone that we all breathe differently. We are all different. We have all different physiology. So your breathing is not my breathing. So you cannot teach the same exercise for all people, because we are all different. So just be aware, just be an observer. That's the reason why it's very important in my work, because you become aware of your dysfunctional breathing habits. You feel.
So you're saying that all the exercises that are, 1, 2, 3, all the same, sometimes may not be correct. They're not correct exercise for everyone, because people have different physiology in the diagram, in their body, in their lungs, and their breathing. So we have to be aware. And so as a therapist, how would I understand that difference? Say, because we have specific, we do just the mindfulness exercises and breathing to calm people down. Obviously, I do the very simple exercises where you just focus on your breathing. Is that not for everyone? Or you're talking about more specific breathing exercises?
With the main people very known in the breathwork work, as Dan Brulé or Jim Morningstar, say breathwork is more than a therapy. It's beyond therapy. Why?
Like
It's beyond the therapy, because we are going within in the human being, in our deep being. And by this way is beyond the therapy, because when you finish the therapy, the breathing still be with you. You be the breathing, and the breathing is you. The breathing is a link between your spirit, your mind, and your body.
Is that what you mean? It touches your soul. Like therapy is more like,
we
but
work
breathing
on,
goes more.
breathing is a link with the soul, with the spirit, and with the body. That's the reason why it's beyond the therapy.
Okay, interesting. Therapy is equally good.
So that's the reason why
yes, I know what you mean. You're right.
It's very important for all therapists to take conscious about that and use that. It's a combination of work, very interesting for the patient, for the client.
Yes, it has become, more and more therapists incorporate breathing and mindfulness because they see the results. But in my experience, people are not very, they're not very committed, or for some reason, that's why I said I don't understand why they don't do the exercise or by themselves. They come to therapy, they do the exercise, but they will not do it by themselves. And this is where I'm puzzled of, they want more quick, ease. They find it more difficult. So I'm wondering whether there's something about connection to the self and breathing. Some people might not want to go to therapy. They say, I'm okay, I don't have anything. I accept that, but I have a sense if there's an issue and they don't want to go, I think there's a resistance there from actually getting to know themselves. So I'm wondering whether that works with breathing, because as you say, it's beyond therapy. It goes even deeper to the soul, to who you are.
Yeah, because breathing work on the emotional state. You go more deeper in the emotional state in order to accept your emotion. It's completely, it works with intelligence emotional. That means that more you are aware, more you understand your emotions, more you accept them. But yeah, I understand in your work, because I have some clients also who refuse to continue the work, because more you know yourself, more you are afraid to discover who you are, more to discover, to connect to the self. That's the reason why I work in two parts in my work. I work also in biofeedback with the breathing. I am certified in breathing behavior analyst, and I use the biofeedback in order to educate people to have a functional breathing, but with a machine, with something that you can see in a real time, how you breathe, and how you can discover the better breathing, a functional breathing. It's another part of the breathing, but it's very efficient. But yeah, I think that we are on the huge change of awareness in the world, and people need to be more aware, and more people want to be aware, to change their life, to change things, to change their work. But the first thing that you have to change is your breathing to do that.
Exactly, and connect to yourself, but it's true. After COVID, I've seen a lot of people, maybe it gave, as I said, time for people to think of who they are, what they want more. Stillness sometimes makes you think more, reflect more. So, and yes, you're right. The people are more aware, but maybe about rapid changes, not so much.
It takes a little time. You go step by step. Just be the witness of your breathing. It's very easy. You take your time with yourself, because it's you. It's not the therapist ask the person. It's the person who try to discover, because just the diaphragmatic breathing, just a simple exercise each day during 5 minutes, and you will learn how your breathing improve by itself every day. Just be aware of your breathing 5 minutes each day. It's enough. You don't have to make you don't have to make a 25 exercise a day to have a good breathing. So that is important to say that to everyone, because we need to have something very quickly. Yeah. People need to have
quick results. Yeah. Especially breathing. As you say, first step as in therapy, it's all about awareness. It's interesting you said you start with breath awareness, because in my work is the same. The first step is become aware of where is the issue of, because if you're not aware, then how you're going to move on to step 2, which is take responsibility on observing it and then changing it. So it's very interesting how there's a link of breathing ideas and therapy ideas. I want to ask you, I have this, and this has this for breathing that helps you. It goes, it has a circle, and it helps you how to, it opens and then it closes. So what about this? Do you think it's helpful?
It's a simple exercise. It's a simple exercise, but I don't like it. But I think that it can help a lot of people. I know that I am in the International Breath Foundation, and I know that they have an app and very useful for a lot of people. But it's an app, it's an exercise, but I don't know that it helps the client, the person, to be more aware, because you just have to listen to you.
You depend on something again, isn't it? It's a dependency as well, isn't it? Oh, okay, I have to look at my watch, or I'm not doing it because I don't find it helpful. Just look my sleep. And it's like, but it's I guess it's something that we have all these things that makes you dependable. And perhaps that's why as I said before, people go when they feel they want to relax, to calm, to a meditation group. They do all these apps where it helps them to calm down. So they just do it and then they forget. So I'm wondering whether all these apps, all these, visualizations, or maybe create a dependency or an easy, easy support, like for people just to go breathe and then go back to their normal life, like not taking the full responsibility when it's out there. I don't know. Just an idea that
as I ask people is to observe, to be observer, to try to be an observer and witness of their breathing during different moments in the day, during sport, during activities, during at work, when they are stressed, because people notice step by step the change on their breathing in different situations. And that's very important. Yes, your breathing changes during the day. If you rest, your breathing is calm. If you are stressed, your breathing is not calm, for sure.
And it affects the body.
It's normal, but the main important is it's the quality of your breathing. Do you know that breathing regulates the pH of our body?
No, I've read that it does so many things. I mean, blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, like huge, the impact. I couldn't believe it. I was reading. I mean, I knew, but when you read and you do more research, you just can't believe it. It's everything. I mean, you can change through your breathing. You can change the pain in your body.
You change everything in your body, your pain, in the physical way, in the spiritual way, in the emotional state. You change everything. It's very transformational, as I say. And you don't have to eat something special to drink alkaline water, for example. I talk about alkaline water because a lot of people say, I drink a lot of alkaline water. I think that my body is perfect. My pH is perfect. I say, no, my God, no, it changes anything. Because if you have dysfunctional breathing habit and your breathing is not efficient, your pH is more alkaline or more acid.
Mm.
But just be aware of how breathing 5 minutes each day. I want to people be safe with that. Just take 5 minute breaks for you each day and just observe how is your breathing. If you feel that your breathing is too fast, try to soft your breathing. Inhale and let the exhale fully let it go. Don't try to make your breathing better. Don't try to deep your breathing if you are not comfortable for that. That's very important to talk to people, that you have just to be an observer. Don't change. Just be soft. That's soft your breathing. A soft breathing, soft inhale and exhale. Just that. And more you are aware of each inhale and exhale of your breathing, more you are healthy and more you have energy.
And you're connected to yourself.
And more you are to reconnect to yourself.
Don't we say that present moment? So many people talk about just live the present moment. And it's true, present moment is what it is, really.
When you breathe during these 5 minutes a day, you're breathing, you are in the present moment. You are with yourself.
Exactly. The more you observe your breathing, then I think the more you're in the present moment, because then you cannot observe your breathing, but then think, oh, what I'm going to do in 3 weeks from now, or am I going to achieve this goal, or, oh, what happened, 2 years ago? You can't. The brain, you control your thoughts at the same time because you are actually present in what's happening now. And I think for me, it's present moment is everything. And the breathing is such a huge link to that, because as I said, and we're going to talk in other times as well, but I find interesting how everyone, we leave, all my clients, people, my friends, even me, sometimes we just leave like there is certainty, everything's but it's funny how, people are so anxious about my clients, about what are they going to do, how much money, what they're going to achieve and I'm like, there's no certainty in anything. You don't know anything from moment to moment. Like we live in such uncertainty, but we are trapped in thinking uncertainty. I mean, yes, I understand. It's important to have goals and look forward, because otherwise, you need something to move forward. But just when it affects your thinking, when you get caught up in this planning and stress, and I think this is where breathing is so important to bring people back to that present moment of what is now and what is certainty in that specific moment.
That's the reason why in mindfulness, and I think that when you practice mindfulness and meditation, the first thing when we talk about that, it's our breathing. It's just no mystery. Your breathing is very important, and the time that you take with yourself is very important. You have to make yourself your priority.
Big one.
More you make yourself your priority, more you connect to yourself, and more you are happy with yourself, more you love yourself, more you are at peace with yourself. And that's possible. That is possible for everyone.
It is possible for everyone. It's just some people find it very hard to do that. And,
yes, because I think that we imagine that we have to do too much to connect to the self. But 5 minutes a day, everybody can take 5 minutes. And if it's not 5 minutes, take 2 minutes, a step to 2 minutes, and just take 2 minutes to observe. And the first day when you start, it's not easy. You observe and you're bored. You don't want to still. Okay. Second day, you try again. Persistence, the action, change the habit. You have to change the habit. Take a new habit and take 5 minutes for yourself. It takes a little time. but the result is giant for yourself.
Yes, but you need time, you need patience, isn't it? What a huge patience, so important. As I said, people want to see quick outcomes, but the best outcomes, the most deeper work takes time to see the results. That's the reality of it.
If you want to learn to practice tennis, or if you want to learn piano, it takes time. If you want to learn another language, it takes time.
Exactly.
But I think that if you have to wait to practice during 1 month to have a new habit, and it will be automatic in your body, the result is giant for your life, for your longevity, for all. And breathing for sure change all area in your life, not only your personal life, but your leadership, your relationship, your business, because you have more clarity in your mind.
For sure. Who joined us here? Hello. We're talking about exploring ideas about breathing therapy. I mean, I don't know if you heard about it. I mean, Anne gives amazing ideas here.
A lot of noise around here, and so I didn't switch on.
Oh, don't worry. I didn't want to bring you into this. I just saw you. I don't know whether you have any ideas about breathing, and you know, we're talking about how important is breathing, and Anne is right. Like, takes time, and it's only 5 minutes, and takes that first step of prioritizing yourself.
Yeah.
How are you in breathing?
So first of all, in respect of time, I think that we are very screwed up, because we wanted to have things for yesterday, even if it is just, the time that it takes to cook something or to warm something up in the microwave. If it is 60 seconds, it's too long. We want to have 45 seconds. That's crazy. Okay. Quick. Yeah, exactly. And I raise my hand because sometimes I'm not. Okay, so I'm not saying that it is something that happens to others, and just that. So regarding breathing, I have been always very fascinated by breathing techniques, but I haven't practiced them with consistency until 1 year ago, when on a mastermind I met a colleague, and she's a breath coach. And so I started learning things and find out about the benefits. And I actually needed those exercises for myself as well, because of the menopause phase where I am, and so
yes, great.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
It is. And so they helped me very, very much, and it was amazing to find out so many things. So what I think is that first and foremost, we need, especially you, and we need to educate people around what the benefits are, and this, I think, this is something that will take a lifetime, because of course people will forget things, or people or there are new people, and you will tell them new things, or there are discoveries, or there are different ways of saying the same concept, but conveying it in a different way. So I think that apart from the breathing technique itself, the education part of what breathing can do for people is a huge, I would say, contribution, but also a huge vocation that I think you have. Otherwise, you would not be able to help people connect the challenge that they are experiencing with the benefit that they will have at the end of the gap and the breathe work in between.
Ask why it's so challenging to, I'm not talking, I mean, even for myself sometimes, on my clients, to actually stay and do breathing. Like, you know, people find it like, as you said, Anne, you said, oh, maybe it's boring, or it's something like it. I don't know. People find very difficult. I mean, my clients find more easy to do affirmations, to do exercises, you know, about changing their thoughts, but to do the 5-minute breathing, there's always an excuse. And this is what I don't understand why it's so difficult. Maybe what is the difference?
But just when you ask people and say, take 5 minutes, for certain people, it doesn't work. So I ask people in that way. I say, during your day, observe your family, observe your husband, observe your children, and say how will they breathe, if they open the mouth, if the breathing is fast, observe.
So the idea is perhaps not to observe themselves, because then it's too much of a work.
Yeah.
Observe the others breathing.
Because when you observe different part of your family, you finish by to observe yourself.
Yeah.
I do that with behavior.
Yeah, because
if you are, with breathing.
I take the example, if you are a mother and you have a son or daughter, and you notice that the breathing is not good, or you have a feeling that the breathing is not efficient, or she's asthmatic, or she has issue, we don't know. You can help her and discover our breathing and their breathing. So it's a two part of the work. When you discover dysfunctional breathing habits in a part of your family, you will try to do the best for yourself after. But I want to react to Louisa. Yeah, for women, it's very important to breathe, because women with the pregnancy, women with the menopause, women with a different hormone.
Yeah, but also the menstrual cycle. It is very, very important to know how to breathe during certain phases of the month.
Yeah. And for all people, women, men, and children, for all people. And the main important way in my work is to educate breathing, educate people to have a functional breathing. That's very important now, not only to practice breathing technique, but also to educate and to learn how do you breathe, and very efficient in all situations, anytime, and for everyone, because you can learn to breathe properly at any age.
Yeah.
Thank you, Louisa, for being with us, for joining us. It's very, very cool.
I have had something in accident, and I went to an osteopath, and I found it such an interesting experience, because sorry, he couldn't be able to work if I didn't breathe deeply, because osteopathy, it helps with all the problem, not one thing. Physiotherapy just does one thing, but I just found it so interesting how, in order to create the whole balance of my system of say I had a problem with my knee, so this is where everything started, but he works in all the body, and but in order to balance the system, I have to breathe deep in order to do the movements. And I found that fascinating, like, how you see how connected it is, like with the breathing moves with the tissues, and and by the way, it has been extremely good work.
When you ask a person to breathe deeply, people don't know what does it mean. That's very important also. Because breathe deeply, deep breathe, it's not force the breathing. When you ask a person to breathe deeply, they forced, they, and no, it's too strong for our body. And deep breath is soft, very soft, deep
Soft
and
breath.
soft. Yeah. You know, you can listen to your breath. You put something in your ears. You close your ears. You close your eyes and listen.
I'll do it now.
Yeah, just right now. And you will hear and listen to the noise of your breathing. Breathing, inhale and exhale from your nose. And sometimes to hear better, you inhale from your nose and you exhale with your mouth, with your lips very, very next, but lips pursed.
That's a good
That means
exercise. Just that. Just to observe for a little bit. You said something before. It's about habits. We all have habits.
Of course.
I wake up, I have my coffee. You know, can I do without coffee? I can, but my habit is that wake up, I have my coffee. So why don't I wake up and I do this exercise before my coffee? You know what I mean? Why is it so difficult? Like, it's all about decision. And I've read something, there's a quote, and I liked it so much, and I use it with my clients. And it says, it's different when you're interested in something that you are committed to something. Because if you're interested in something, you are doing things because, you know, it's convenient. But when you're committed, there's you know, you don't want anything else than what is the outcome you want.
Exactly.
Commitment and interest is completely different.
You're right. You're right. And with the pandemic, it explains a lot of things. People wear some masks and have some difficulties, some big difficulties to breathe. And the conscious that breathing is very important changed nothing. We don't have more clients since the pandemic. I think that I will have more clients with the pandemic because people suffer of our but yeah, you're right. I think that it's to change a habit, and all habits, breathing habits or emotional habits or different habits, you have to take step by step. Of course, if you wake up and the first step, you take your coffee and you go to work. Okay, when you go to bed on the night, on the evening, maybe you can try to just observe the diaphragmatic breathing. You put your hand on your belly and just observe your breathing. It helps you to sleep. It helps you to go, to make to sleep. So, yeah, you have to try 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Maybe also I can ask people to observe their breathing in the bathroom when you brush your teeth. And you can put something, a message for you, just very close your coffee, and put a task, something, a cup of coffee, and on the cup say breathe. And when you say the word breathe, you say, oh my God, yeah. You smell your coffee. So you breathe.
And you smell even better your coffee. You taste better your coffee. It's not just a habitual act of just drinking coffee.
And you drink your coffee in conscious.
And that's another interesting thing, isn't it? The consciousness, not only of your breath, when you become conscious of your breathing, then I think automatically probably you become conscious of how you eat, of what you drink, and slowly of what you say, of how you behave. And there goes a circle of becoming more aware of yourself, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the same for meditation. Breathing is also a meditation in the certain way. You can meditate when you walk, when you are walking in the park, when you have a walk, when you run, when you are in a taxi, when you are in a train. You don't need to be in a calm.
Exactly. And I think this is the misinformation people have. They don't realize that it is that simple to observe and to breathe. And it's almost like it has been created, this idea that it has to be in a context, you know, of meditation, visualization, of all this stuff, you know, which are nice. I'm not going to say no, but it's simpler than that. Everybody of us already doing it, because that's how we're alive, really. So, and that's perhaps, this is what Luisa as well said. It's about that information, perhaps how simple it is and how simply everybody can do it, rather than expecting to go or create that specific event or situation to go into it.
It's to make the experience of the breathing, the experience of life. It's for all experience. You have to do the experience by yourself, but in a certain way to know how do you breathe. But if you, as I said, with the biofeedback, it helps you because you see your breathing in a wave on the computer, and you see automatically how you breathe, and by this way people understand and take conscious and decide to work on their breathing and to educate on their breathing. It's another part, but it's not the same, because I think that the first step is very important, to be aware, but yes, it depends on the time, it depends on the moment. People want to yeah, it depends on different things, but I'm sure that it's possible for everyone. But if you want.
What does Luisa say? There's a difference between, you found it already. Of course, my lady. Quick. Thank you, Luisa. Isn't that a great quote? There's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. I love this and I use it. And I guess that's where breathing can fall into, that kind of code, because it's about taking the responsibility, commitment to yourself with everything, but also with that.
That's the reason why Luisa say yes. It's for me, my work and breathing is education. Education is not a commitment; it's not only convenient. Education is to learn something new, learn, just about learning, apprenticeship, but experiential. Okay, I think that we will have more fun in the next steps to connect to self.
Yes. But I'm going to take away some very interesting things you said, which is how, breathing is not the same for everyone. We have to be aware that people have different ways of breathing. So not all exercise fit all, because of the different physiology, the different way of breathing. So it's very important to be aware of people's breathing and share with them, be with them, how it feels. I also liked the example of, if it's difficult to do the exercise, to observe your breathing, start with the people around you, observe their breathing.
Yeah, because it works.
And the third one is not forced breathing. No feel like, I have to breathe, or, when we're in the gym and they say, take a deep breath, no, we don't have to overdo it. You just have to go listen to you, how, soft breathing. I like these ideas. I think you have a lot of experience there and a lot of knowledge, Anne. So thank you for this. I'm going to bring this into my work as ideas.
Yeah, of course. I think that it's very helpful to work on breathing with your work. So we will see the future. What happens in the future.
More and more linked. Yeah. Perhaps we need, more understanding of, all this work you do, the biofeedback, and maybe bring different mechanisms as well, rather than just the mindfulness and all this, which I really like.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Okay.
That's great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luisa, for joining and bring that quote as well. Always there when I need help. And Okay, so I guess to be continued with a different topic.
And it's to connect to the self.
To connect the self. There are so many things to do about
Of
how to
course.
connect to the self. Breathing is obviously one of them, but there's so many other things, isn't it, to do
Of
to be able
course.
to connect to the self. Because the self, as you said, is not only a physical, mental, emotional, but also a spiritual part. So many things to look at and explore, I guess. I'm really looking forward. I think
That's why if people are not ready to take care about their breathing now, they can try other things to be connected to the self.
Exactly.
You can try another thing.
Exactly. It's not. Yeah.
And maybe later we return to the breathing part.
But I guess we start with the breathing because this is the breath, this is life, this is human,
Of course.
being in action, really.
And you can stop eating, you can stop drinking, but
you cannot stop breathing. There's no option, is there? Only one way. Okay, great.
Okay,
Lisa,
so
before we
great.
go, do you have to say anything or any other thing, any idea? Do you want to add anything before we come to an end? Did you hear me, Luisa?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
You're talking to.
I said, is there anything you want to add or to say before we come to an end?
Oh, yeah. So my takeaway is definitely to the first step of a breath work that is the observation. Just with the observation itself, you start a transformation. And so once you start the transformation, you just want more because you have the benefits included in the experience itself, in the journey itself. So yeah, observing is always the first place to start for everything. Yeah.
Okay, great. I like this. I like exploring ideas with women that have so much knowledge.
And it's very interesting to be the witness of your breathing, the witness, more the observer. And after that, you are the detective of your breathing. That's great.
Like the Pink Panther. I love the Pink Panther.
Yeah.
Yes.
When she dressed like a detective.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so
great.
much, Luisa, for joining us and have this conversation together and share your thoughts.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Kisses. Bye-bye.
Kisses. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Thank you for everything.
We see you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I have to, where's the record? Ah, here we go. Okay, bye-bye now.